The question is, can the players from the 60s keep up in the modern era? What's going on, guys? Jay Zimmer here, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be starting a new mini-series. It's just going to be a 5-part series. It's basically, can certain decades keep up with the modern era? So we're going to have the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. I figured we'd stop there because the 2010s would have overlap, obviously with LeBron James. In terms of the modern era players, it was kind of tough to decide who best fit this, but I went with Steph Curry. I mean, I was going to pick him for the point guard. I don't think anyone would argue he's the best point guard in the game right now. I didn't go with a shooting guard or anything like that because none of them really stood out. I was thinking maybe Kawhi, but I chose against it just because the modern era has sort of this mix of skill and size. So I actually went with LeBron James. Then we have Kevin Durant, obviously a 7-footer who just can do it all. How do you not include Kevin Durant? He's a freak of nature and an amazing basketball player to boot. You have Giannis, the Greek freak. He's literally called a freak, so you just have to include him. He's going to be playing power forward. And then I had to do Jokic. That's going to be up for debate, who's the best center right now. But he did just win MVP, so how do you not include Jokic in this starting 5? And then for this first episode, the modern era is going up against the 60s. Like I said, it's just going to go in order. And for the 60s, I actually used NBA.com's 1960s all-decade team. For the point guard, they have Jerry West. If you don't know much about Jerry West, obviously he's the NBA logo. He didn't win a ring until the 70s, but I'm still going to include him, especially because he averaged almost 41 points in 11 playoff games in 65. I mean, that's like insane to average over 40 points throughout the playoffs. He's just a great player. Then we have the Big O, Mr. Triple-Double himself before Russell Westbrook, obviously. I mean, no one has done what he's done until Russell Westbrook, so how can you not include him? Then we have Bill Russell. Obviously, I'm a Celtics fan, and if you know anything about basketball, you know Bill Russell. I mean, 11 rings, what can you say? 11 championships in 13 seasons. That's just stupid. Defensive powerhouse. Next we have Elgin Baylor. I honestly don't know too much about Elgin Baylor. He did go 0 for 7 in the NBA Finals. I definitely know that. But he was an unbelievable player nonetheless. Just sucks for his finals appearances and record, obviously. And then we have Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain. I mean, if you don't know anything about Wilt, he's debatably the most athletic person of all time. Everything you hear about him sounds fake. There's not too much video proof of anything, but I believe basically everything with regards to Wilt Chamberlain. He's just, if you've seen the few videos that do exist, the man can touch the back or the top of a backboard. You just have to include him. So yeah, the question is for this series, can these old decades keep up with modern players? Obviously, you'll hear it all the time. Back in the day, it was so much rougher. Vice versa, in today's era, it's such a shooting game that players back in the day wouldn't be able to keep up. So I thought it would be fun to see how this goes. With regards to the modern day players, I just took them off the teams that they're currently on. So we're not using like Cleveland Cavs or Miami Heat LeBron or OKC or Supersonics Durant or anything like that. It's just what they are currently. For the 60s players, there's only 2 teams from the 60s actually in 2K, so I thought it would be kind of unfair to just use the players from that. So I ended up going with all-time teams. Some people might think that's unfair. I think it gives them the only fighting chance for them to keep up. And as you can see on the scoreboard, they're actually winning right now. The Ballers will always be the non-modern team for this series. I figured I'd keep it constant just to make it easy. And they're always going to be in all-white unis. Versus the modern guys are going to be in their respected uniforms, as you can see in the gameplay behind you, or not behind you. What am I saying? Just the gameplay that you're that you're witnessing. I haven't done like a face cam yet or anything. I'll probably incorporate that soon, just because I know a lot of people do that. A lot of people like that. If you do have any recommendations for series in the future, feel free to let me know. This just came up out of the blue in my own mind, and I figured it'd be fun. I can't remember anyone else doing this. Maybe they've done it in the franchise mode, just like a simulation to see what happens with the most ridiculous lineup of all time in the background there. But yeah, I thought it would be fun to see, and we do have the 60s team actually up pretty big now. 3 points is respectable, now 2 points after Giannis gets a nice little oop finish. And I haven't really decided how I'm going to commentate over these yet. I can talk about, you know, the 60s players and the modern players, how they may stack up. Again, I think it's a silly debate. I think any of these players, you can't compare. It's apples to oranges. They're just totally different leagues at the time. Without these 60s players, these modern day players wouldn't exist, so you have to give respect where respect is due. So yeah, I guess I'll just jump into the gameplay a little bit here, as it is 19-19, and it looks like 19-20 now. The 60s team does have a 1-point lead. These are win by 2. I'm doing it to 21 points. They're just going to be sudden death. If you do want it to be a series or something like that, just let me know. I'm happy to do so. The premise is basically, if they can keep up or win, then they have been able to keep up with the modern era. And if they just get absolutely dismantled, for example, I did a full recording of the modern era players against the 2 teams from the 60s. And I think the final score was like 21-6. It just wasn't enjoyable to watch. It was basically Jerry West and Bill Russell and just a couple 80 overalls against just a dominant force of a team. So I watched it back. It wasn't very enjoyable. If you want me to cut it any differently, also please let me know. I think this was about 22 minutes, totally uncut. Obviously, they're going to put up a bunch of ridiculous shots. I mean, Elgin Baylor's cold right now, so I think I cut out basically all of his shots except for this one, which is probably going to be missed. Yeah, he takes some ridiculous shots. If you do want me to cut it up in any way, just feel free to let me know. And if you did like it, feel free to rate it. You don't have to if you don't want to. If you do like this content, this is going to be a 5-part series, like I said, so feel free to subscribe if you don't want to miss it. 70s is probably coming up tomorrow, 80s the next day, 90s, so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm going to jump definitely into the game now, as it is 22-23, and so the modern day players really need to step it up right now, otherwise they will be going home in the first game, in the first series, to the 60s era player. Steph Curry with some nice dribble moves, a tough shot, but he does get it to fall. As you can see, what is it, Jokic and Chamberlain are on fire, so they've been just battling pretty handedly, pretty well. LeBron James with a nice board right there. And a tough shot from Kevin Durant. He does miss it. With Russell. When I do quick cuts like this, it's just because there's a lot of misses, but because the score is so close, I want you to be able to see those misses. If you like that, let me know. If you wanted me to just play that out in totality, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to do that as well. With Durant missing, Baylor gets the rebound. Baylor actually doing something. That's so disrespectful. Obviously, he's an unbelievable player. No disrespect meant. West for the win. He's off. If you notice, Curry and West had a nice little 3-point battle for a while, but it looks like Jerry has really slowed down. Curry with a nice move on Jerry West, getting right by him for his patented finger roll. Jerry West coming up the court with the ball. We'll see what they want to do, if they want to tie it up, if they want to try to take the lead. I would probably just go for the tie right now, although Jerry West, knowing him, oh, and that's in and out. He had the chance to take the lead right there. Kevin Durant coming up with the ball, so all they need is a single point to win. Kevin Durant decides to go for the absolute dagger beyond the arc, and that is it. So the modern era do end up winning. We'll quickly look at the stats. Oscar Robertson doing most of the work. Jerry West 3 for 13 is not going to cut it. Wilt Chamberlain did not miss. Probably could have been more involved. Steph Curry he scored by far the most points, 10 for 27, not the best shooting. We'll look at the comparisons, 38 to 39%. Actually, very similar comparisons. You can't really tell a difference. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. It does look like the 60s could keep up with the modern era. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Until next time, see you next video. Bye.